History lost, decks past, but in this series, we revisit older decks to see if they can be brought back to the forefront of the meta. We'll break down what made these decks great, what no longer holds up, and how modern builds can give them new life. By exploring different variants and tech choices, we'll tune each deck to fit different playstyles. Let's see if these classics still have what it takes for meta teching. What's up, guys? My name is TechnoTuner, and today I'm back again with another episode of Metateching, and today we're taking a look at Burning Abyss. What has this deck got that a lot of others don't? Outside of the fan base, it has a lot of good capability over the years and has been a very good meta and rogue contender from the effects of basically being able to set up a lot of rank 3s, get some decent link plays, get a lot of good board state and interaction going as well. From being able to recur resources with Seer and Graph, you're able to burn for damage with Barbar, you're able to negate monster effects in hand for the Graph or the other Burning Abyss monsters, sorry. As well, to summon them with Libic, you also have Farfa for a Banish and Scarm to search, while you also have other cards such as Tour Guide of the Underworld and Fiendish Rhino Warrior. This deck was really well known for its trap stun and being able to board control pretty well back in the day. However, I want to try and breathe some new life into the deck for this episode of Metateching and show you some different deck builds that you can do to give you that further capability to push for more damage and be able to go a little bit further at your locals. While this deck has a lot of good setups, from being able to set up interactions such as Dante to Milne, get more interactions off your Burning Abyss effects, Ashura King for negates, Cicada King and Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, you have for monster negate, and Cicada for basically defense and negate effects. You have a lot of other capabilities to swing out for game, whether it be Burning Abyss, Phantom Knight, being able to set up Dante or Virgil or do Dark Fusions. You have so much that you can do. You also have further interactions through such as older cards known as Breakthrough Skill, Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss, Needlebug Nest, Traveler in the Burning Abyss. You have a lot of wiggle room to really work with this deck. Being able to really get your cards back from the banished with Levier the Sea Dragon, as well as a really good generic link or rank 3, you have further capabilities of setting up boards even further, allowing you to do more link plays and get those protections. However, there is one fallback to the Burning Abyss cards that a lot of people do seem to forget. If you control another monster that is not a Burning Abyss monster, they will nuke themselves. So you have to set protections such as Fiendish Rhino Warrior, Libic's Graveyard Effect, Tour Guide Underworld's Summon Effect, or having Cherubini on board, where it's summoned to one of the 2 arrows, basically making it to where it cannot be destroyed by card effects. This further protects your monsters and allows you to have some staying power and recursion and looping with this deck. But that's all that I really have for this generic deck build that I have here for you guys. Let's go ahead and hop right into some of the other deck builds I've prepared, and I'll go over as to what we're trying to address with these decks. So first up, we're going to start with BAPK, aka Burning Abyss Phantom Knight. This deck has always been a rogue contender, and in my opinion will always be one of my favorites. From being able to get your capability of setting up your Break Swords, your Cherubini, your Phantom Knight combo for setting up Phantom Knight Fogblade as a negation of a face-up monster on the board that can attack and cannot be, that monster cannot be targeted with other monsters for attacks. It basically is another way to revive a Phantom Knight card if it's in the graveyard, but being able to incorporate with the Burning Abyss cards as well, giving you further capability for your negations and playing through other headache cards such as Nibiru and other things. You have further card additions such as Phantom Knights of the Ancient Cloak, Ragged Gloves, Silent Boots, Stained Greaves, and Torn Scales. What do all these cards do? They basically allow you to further extend with your rank 3 plays, allowing you to go into Dante to get more mills, but they also have other effects when they're in the graveyard. Perfect example, when Silent Boots is in the graveyard, you can banish to add a Phantom Knight spell or trap. Ragged Gloves, you can send one Phantom Knight's card from your deck to the graveyard. Could be a spell or a trap. Ancient Cloak, add a Phantom Knight's card from your deck to your hand. If a Phantom Knight card is banished While this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon Torn Scales. So you're already getting some recursion here with just those. You have Stained Greaves. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon one Phantom Knight's monster from your hand, giving you a further extension. While we have the other side of the deck, which is the Burning Abyss pile, we have Seer, which allows you to, if I remember correctly, yep, target one Burning Abyss monster in your graveyard, special summon it, while Graph is, if it's sent to the graveyard and you haven't activated the effect to special summon it, Graph has the effect of summoning one from deck. Libic gives you the extra negation if you haven't special summoned it. Farfa gives you the banish if you haven't special summoned it. And when I say, going back real quick for Libic, when I say negation, I mean if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one level 3 Dark Fiend type monster from your hand, but its effects are negated. So this also protects your monsters from blowing themselves up. The other cards that I am playing also is Scarm, which is basically during the end phase if this card was sent to the graveyard, or is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn. You can add one level 3 Dark Fiend type monster from your deck to your hand, except Scarm. So this can get you into any of the other Burning Abyss monsters, which can help you further your combo next turn. We have Dante, which allows us to basically mill, get our Phantom Knights and our Burning Abyss monsters into the graveyard. We also have the capability of using Break Sword, where if Break Sword is destroyed, we can summon back 2 Phantom Knight monsters and increase their level by 1, making them level 4, allowing us to go into Raider's Knight or the original Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon for further capability for our OTK. We also have capability of reviving back from the banish with Leviair. This gives us further capability of playing around banishment if we need to. Raider's Knight also enables us to go for the OTK with Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, where we can attach one material from this card. This card gains attack equal to the total original attack of all other monsters on the field. Then if this card has a Dark Xyz monster as material, negate the effects of all other face-up monsters on the field. So, once again, we're just getting more capabilities for OTK power. However, I will state that Arc Rebellion does have a downside to where if you activate this effect, you cannot declare attacks with other monsters for the rest of this turn, except Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, which is perfectly fine. It just makes it a little bit harder to go for an OTK if you can't push for solid straight damage. But we do have other cards as well that allow us to break board or allow us to do other things such as setup, which is Cherubini with setting up some protection. We have Phantom Knights the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche, which basically lets us send a Phantom Knights monster from deck to the graveyard, set a Phantom Knight spell or trap directly from our deck to spell and trap zone. If a Dark Xyz monster is special summoned to a zone this monster or this card points to, except during the damage step, you can target one card in the field and destroy it. So giving you further capability of a interactable pop. So outside of that, we do still have Divine Arsenal AA Zeus as well, since we're playing Xyz package, which can further help us extend and set up board disruption as well. From the hand traps of Ash Blossom, Ghost Spell, Mulch Armies, Infinite Impermanence, and Nibiru, we have the interactions that can also help us keep a main staying board, but also break our opponent's board pretty easily as well. Raid Raptor's Phantom Knight's Claw as well is a good one. This is a card that not a lot of people pay attention to, but it does come up from time to time. When a monster effect is activated, detach one material from your Dark Xyz monster, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. Then if the detached material was a Phantom Knights, Raid Raptor, Xyz Dragon, or Raid Raptor Xyz monster that you control, or monster, the Xyz monster you control gains attack equal to the original destroyed monster's original attack. You can activate one Raid Raptor's Phantom Knight's Claw per turn. Sorry, I had to reread that a couple times. But anyways, basically it's just an interactable counter trap that sets up a monster negation or just a just a monster effect negation destruction, which can help out greatly. Outside of that, we're still playing the one Fiendish Rhino Warrior because it does come up from time to time. Because even though we do play Phantom Knights, if we have the Burning Abyss cards, we're going to be setting up the Cherubini first thing anyway, so we can get further effects off as well, such as Graph to summon Seer, Seer to revive back Graph, and then take those two to go into a Phantom Knights monster or into Dante to just mill more. We have the capability of further improving this deck, and Phantom Knights are also bound to get more support anyways in the upcoming sets, since it was revealed in Chaos Impact, or a new chaos set. Anyways, that's all that I have for this one. Let's hop right into our next deck profile. All right. I know you guys have seen this one on my channel a couple times. It is the Burning Abyss Fiendsmith pile. This deck has a lot of capability from setting up a monster negation with the Fiendsmith cards, but also, or summon negation with the Fiendsmith cards, but it also has a lot of capability of setting up some pretty cool interactions with Loose, uh, was it? Loose the Dusk Dark. I wanted to call him the King of Dusk for some reason. Basically, 3 Fiend and or Fairy monsters in your graveyard. You can summon him by using Mutiny in the Sky, which helps out greatly, being able to recur your resources and get more rolling. But this deck is really fun. It does have a lot of good combos in which you can set up and play through. If you guys are interested, I do have the test hands up for that as well back a couple months ago. But this deck is still a lot of fun because you do have the Fiendsmith option to go into, allowing you to basically go through that. Your opponent has to resolve Nibiru before you get through the Fiendsmith combo, which leaves you plenty of space open to do the Burning Abyss lines and or the loose line, which allows you to go into further plays, whether it be the Burning Abyss setup with Cherubini, Dante, and Zeus, or you can go into loose and get additional pops and protection. There's so much that this deck can do. The only thing that the Fiendsmith package really did was insulate the sustainability of having the capability to summon more monsters for this deck and keep them on board. That was the main problem that we had, was if you played this deck, you were more than likely going to run into Nibiru, which would wipe your board. But due to the Fiendsmith package, it gives us more protection from Nibiru and being able to still play the game. Because usually if Nibiru resolved, you were kind of sitting there and not being able to really play the game because the recovery takes a lot out of this deck. But some of the other cool things about this deck is with Lacrima and Engraver, you can still do things such as Fiendsmith's Desiree to set up a negation and equip Aglande and sequence to it for 5 negates. That can give you further board breaking power, but it also increases the attack, if I remember correctly, by 600. So you're increasing Desiree's attack by 3k, making it a 5800 attacker, which can beat over a Lunalite Liger Dancer if you need to, if it hasn't gotten its boost already. Which can really make this deck pop and make it more resilient the further you go. The other thing that you got as well that really doesn't really affect you as much is Fiendsmith in Paradise. Target one level 7 or higher light fiend monster you control. Send all cards on the field to the graveyard that are not that monster. If your opponent special summons a monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, send one Fiendsmith monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Fiendsmith in Paradise once per turn. So basically, if you just have Desiree up, you can basically board wipe with that, which can help out in board control and board states, but also it can also trigger your Burning Abyss monsters as well if they're still on board somehow. There's a couple other cards I want to talk about. The Duke of Demise. This card has came up infamously in this deck where it's very beneficial. Once per turn during your standby phase, pay 500 life points or destroy this card. We don't really care about that. This basically is just another fusion target for Mutiny in the Sky, basically being able to allow us to shuffle back more Burning Abyss cards that we can further utilize, whether it be milling or their effects in the graveyard in general. Being able to incorporate the Mellow Melody, the Brass Djinn as well, can make it very helpful for going into that Fiendsmith package as well with the Burning Abyss monsters if you just don't have access to the Fiendsmith cards. It can help with the actual setup, and since it only takes 2 level 3s, you're not basically resorting to full wiping your board or really anything along those lines, but it gives you capability. For example, if you made it with a normal summon Libic and a special summon Barbar, you can trigger Libic when it's sent for cost to then special summon a Graph or a Dante, but negates effects, so protects it from being popped. So that can help out as well. Anyways, guys, that's all that I have for the Fiendsmith Burning Abyss pile. Let's go ahead and hop into our final deck profile, and I'll show you what the last one is, and I think you guys are gonna like it a lot. All right, guys, for our final one, I cooked up basically Burning Abyss Radiant Typhoon. Radiant Typhoon offers these special summons that we can utilize and some extra draw power as well, but also giving us some spell and trap popping with Mystical Space Typhoon. This gives us further capability of being able to trigger our hand trap, or not our hand traps, our Burning Abyss monsters if they're sent to the grave by accident if we are using Radiant Typhoon Vision. But we also have the capability of searching up Swen and Eldum if we need to off of Chant. This gives us further capability of setting up level 3s so we can set up our Cherubini, but also gives us further capability of using our rank or our level 3s to go into other monsters. We can utilize them to go into Varun to get our MST. We can use it for Dark if we need to get the Burning Abyss monsters on the board. We can still do Dante effect, which allows us to mill more. You have further staying capability with this. While they are two different attributes, yes, but you have more interaction because you have a spell and trap negation with Totem Bird, and you also have Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, where you can utilize your actual Burning Abyss monsters to go ahead and set up further interaction with Bamboozling Gossip Shadow by detaching a Farfa. You can banish with the Farfa, but you can also negate, change the activate effect to both players draw a card. So that can help out greatly as well, giving you extra card draw power, but also giving you the capability of setting up a spell and trap negate. Now, do note, I didn't put a lot of extra rank 3s in here. I would probably cut the Nightmare package, run the Ashura King for further monster negation. You can run Break Sword if you really want to. There's a lot of other good generic rank 3s. You can also run Typhon in this deck that would work very well. This gives you further capability since the Radiant Typhoon summon themselves if your opponent controls no spell and trap zone or spell and traps in their spell and trap zones, or if you have an MST in your graveyard. But we're also playing the Terror top line that basically allows us an additional special summon if we control no monsters. So we can go Terror top, summon Talking Tom board, go into Cherubini, Swen or Eldum, Eldum to get Swim to get Visions, Visions to get a draw, and if we end up breaking on our draw, we still don't lose much because we trigger off our Burning Abyss effects because they were sent to the graveyard. So, if you end up sending, say, we drew into just Graph and Seer. Okay, Graph effect summon from deck, Seer effect summon from graveyard. We're summoning to Cherubini arrows. You're perfectly fine. You were basically setting up the capability there to set up the Bamboozling Gossip Shadow or a Dante. The other thing is you could take the Eldum and the Swen that you already have on the board, go into Totem Bird or the Bamboozling, or just save it to make a bigger Bamboozling or a Shuriken. So you have those further options as well. Those rank 3 plays are what's going to really get you there and get you set up pretty easily with this deck. Being able to further incorporate those and be able to set up more interaction, being able to use that engine as a further board setup piece. You can also go into Great Fly, might I add, to where all wind monsters on the field gain 500 attack and defense. And if you're going against, say, Magnet Warrior or something, that can also make it to where it's a little bit harder for them to set up a bigger monster to where you can beat over with Dante or something else. But you're also going to be able to set up some things such as Varun, where if you really want to, you can play the Mandate to shuffle back the quick play spells, such as the MSTs and the Radiance, which can help as well with a little bit of recovery and giving you some extra card draw. But it does offer up a few main staking issues as well with this deck, to where you have to have a specific line and know how you're playing this deck, because if you don't, you can actually prevent yourself from actually setting up really good Burning Abyss plays, but also prevent yourself from being able to do more than just a Link 2. While Radiant Typhoon has that weakness to basically prevent itself from playing well, while it does die to its own self in certain cases, if you draw too many spells or draw too many monsters, you have to have that good ratio, right? Burning Abyss focuses more on monsters, to where it needs to utilize those monsters to get the board power to push for that damage or to further mill. This is where these decks, basically, if you look at them and work with them and learn how their interactions work, they can work very well together as very good couple engines. Basically, being able to utilize the rank 3 plays, utilizing the win capability, and utilizing the mill capability, you can come up with something really spicy with this deck. Anyways, guys, that's all that I have for you guys today for these deck profiles. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.